On today's episode of Undercover Boss, the CEO of America's most loved sweet treat brand steps away from her high-profile position to go undercover alongside her employees. She will discover systems that are frozen in time,
probably older than me. But yeah, it's when I took over, this is the register we've been using.
and stores that are completely in chaos.
Running back and forth, that's a very big safety concern for me.
And how will her employees react when they receive life-changing news? Stay with us to find out. Headquartered in Philadelphia, Rita's Italian Ice and Frozen Custard is an iconic brand selling Italian ices made fresh daily with real fruit, and their frozen custard is one of the most loved in the business. With over 580 stores and 15,000 employees and an actual revenue of $150 million, we're introduced to the iconic brand holder and president and CEO, Linda Chadwick. Linda started her fast food career at 18, working at Burger King as a sandwich maker. She then went through every position within the restaurant and progressed quickly because of her hard work. And in 2017, she was offered the position of president and CEO at Rita's. Rita's was started by a Philadelphia firefighter, Bob Tumolo, in 1984 with his mom's water ice recipe. He started selling 4 flavors of ices on his porch, and it became so popular that the brand just did not stop growing. And finally, in 1989, the family decided to franchise. When Linda came in as CEO, she found that there were some challenges in supply chain and marketing, which led to some franchise owners not being happy. Her goal is to modernize Rita's and to make it more competitive in today's market. And since she joined the company, Rita's has gotten a new cash register system, more drive-through places, and they also revolutionized their distribution system. But she feels the only way she could actually see all the problems in the company is if she goes undercover and sees it for herself. Linda will be going undercover as Marcy Morgan, a retired teacher from Massachusetts, and her employees will be told that they're in a documentary following a woman who's looking to start over in a new career. For her first job, she travels to Toms River, New Jersey to work with a franchise owner on a newer location. She meets up with Herzon, who gives her a uniform and then teaches her how to use the cash register. She first notices that the cash register are not one of the new ones, and he tells her that the cash register was there when he was, and it was even there when he rented the shop.
The register is old. This is probably older than me. When I took over, this is the register we've been using.
Linda is disappointed that he's still working on the old cash register and that her efforts to implement the new digital registers were not being used by some of the owners. And it all gets worse when a customer tries to buy ice cream with a credit card, and when she tried to scan it, it took so long because the credit card reader was using a dial-up connection. Linda was very frustrated.
So it takes longer to process.
Dial-up.
I know, it's old school.
Yeah.
Especially because it was 2017 and somebody was still using dial-up.
When I took a credit card order, it was so slow. Quite honestly, it was driving me crazy.
And customers started to line up because they couldn't process the payment faster. He tells her the reason he is still on the old system is because it's expensive, and when he became a franchisee, he had to spend a lot of money on other stuff like branding and flooring. The next day, our CEO travels to Holland, Michigan to work with another franchise owner who recently put a drive-thru at her location.
Stephanie recently put in a drive-thru at her location. There is a definite blueprint in making our drive-thru successful.
She meets up with Stefani, who teaches her how to make different ice creams, and Linda also learns a little more about how Stefani operates the shop, which she actually finds a little distasteful as Stefani doesn't follow the company's rules on the opening time, which is the standard time for all stores to open, but Stefani had decided that she wants to do it her way and opens 2 hours later.
It has to be open from 12, but we don't open until 2, mostly because that was something that I dictated that works best for my family.
Linda goes to work in the drive-thru and finds another problem there too, like having no sign to lead the customers on where they should get their order, and she asks her why they don't ask for help from corporate to implement the right system, but Stefani responds by saying that she wants to run the store her way.
So being that this is my business, I am going to do what I need to do, what's best for my family, regardless, in the end, what Rita's corporate may or may not want us to do.
Linda also notices that the communication system for the drive-thru is old and doesn't work properly. And later, Stefani's little kids, which she brought to work because she didn't want to leave them at the daycare, start running around and screaming and disturbing customers. All of this really frustrates Linda, and she finally decides to reveal her true identity.
Okay.
I'm really not Marcy Morgan. I'm Linda Chadwick, CEO of Rita's.
No, you're not.
And you're on Undercover Boss.
Oh, okay.
She tells Stefani that the drive-thru will be shut down until it's working properly, and Stefani didn't know what to say, so they decide to shut down the drive-thru. The next day, Linda travels to Orlando, Florida to work with a franchise owner, Andrew, and they meet up in the morning and get right to the job. Andrew is very good at his job and teaches her really well.
That one is actually used for banana split.
That sounds really good.
Oh, the banana split's really good. A lot of work, but totally worth it.
But she sees that even his shop is not using the new inventory system and that he is still writing on paper. He tells her that he prefers writing on paper because the new website still lacks a lot of things and that it's just more frustrating to use that.
Unfortunately, could also be better organized.
Okay.
Some of the things are just not where they should fit with the rest of the items.
Linda recognizes rushing the new system was not a good idea, and she plans to improve on that.
Responsibility and go speak to my team so that we can have a more effective system in place so that Andrew can use the method.
Later, he introduces her to Pastiche, and she teaches her how to use the new cash register and take orders.
So first thing we are going to do is I want to show you the cash register. So you press Italian eyes, and then right here you're gonna hit kids eyes.
She does that for the rest of the day, and while working with her, Linda learns that Pastiche is autistic and uses art to help other people like her. She also learns that Andrew took her in when she couldn't get a job at other places, and she has now become his best employee. And finally, Linda's undercover time has come to an end, and she's seen the good, the bad, and some of the ugly. So she invites her employees to her office to reveal her identity. First in was Hezron, and she tells him that she had a great time working with him, but she was frustrated with the cash register system, so she gives him $5,000 so he can upgrade both the cash register and the internet connection. She also gives him a $60,000 ice cream trailer truck so he can be able to sell product on events. She then goes on to award him $10,000 for his hard work and dedication to the company. Next in was Stefani, and she tells her that her rogue take on the business and not following the company standards has really hurt the company brand, but she tells her that she wants to help her reopen the drive-thru, so she gives her $25,000 so she can fix everything before reopening. She then offers to mentor her personally and help her grow in her store. And last in was Andrew, and she tells him that the day she spent with him was very special, and she also tells him that she's invested $500,000 to improve the inventory system, and she then tells him that she was inspired by him for hiring people with disabilities, and she asks him to call Pastiche on the phone, and Linda asks her to come to headquarters to talk to the team to create a diversity initiative for Ritas. She then gives her $15,000 and another $5,000 to help her publish her book.
$5,000 to help you publish your book.
And for Andrew, she gives him another $15,000 for his upcoming wedding and honeymoon. In the weeks since, Andrew has gotten his dream wedding and is planning their honeymoon, Pastiche is finishing her book before publication, Hezron has gotten his new cash register and is no longer delaying his customers, and finally, Stefani's franchise is thriving and her drive-thru is open for business. That is it for today's amazing episode of Undercover Boss.